Now I'm back in my favourite county, the Garden of Ireland, County Wicklow. And that house in the background, which you've seen once or twice before, is the house of Collie Ennis. And I'm going in to have a chat with Collie because today he's got a guest who has some questions. Questions about frogs and spiders and all sorts of things. It's my granddaughter, Kaylin. So let's see what the two of them are talking about. Now, folks, I'm inside Collie's house, and that's my darling granddaughter, Kaylin, sitting beside him. Now, we're out here today because Kaylin has a particular interest in frogs. But unfortunately, as you just saw in the introduction, the weather's kind of inclement. So, here we are, sitting in Collie's front room, and Collie is going to tell Kaylin all about frogs, and particularly at this time of year, all about spiders.
This time of the year now, the little froggies are all coming out of the ponds.
Yeah.
And they're moving away from the water. So you see my ponds there, they'll be all kind of coming up onto land.
Yeah.
And in a couple of weeks' time then, when they're all fat and full up, they'll go underground because it's going to get so cold that there'll be no food around for them. And they'll spend the whole winter hibernating either in the leaves and the dirt or sometimes at the bottom of the pond. And even when the ice goes over, they'll stay down there.
Yeah.
And then in the springtime, which is my favourite time of year, you'll get them all coming out. All the males and the females come out and they start croaking and singing to each other, and there's a big breeding frenzy, and that's when you get your frog spawn and the whole thing starts again.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Is there most people would think they eat flies, but they eat anything else other than flies?
They eat anything they can fit in their mouth.
Yeah.
So anything that moves. So they hunt by movement. So anything that moves that they can physically put in their mouth, they will eat it.
Yeah. Would they be able to fit a full fish in their mouth?
Some of the bigger frogs, like African bullfrogs and cane toads and all, they'll eat like big animals. They eat rats and mice. So like,
Okay.
yeah, really big. So yeah, but our own frogs in Ireland, they particularly love beetles, they particularly love woodlice, they love earthworms, and they love slugs.
So,
Yeah, so they're really good for having in your garden.
yeah, and what types of frogs would we have here?
We've one type.
One
So
type.
we've one type of frog, we've one type of newt, and we've one type of toad. So it's very easy for a person like me who studies them in Ireland. But yeah, so we have the common frog. Now the thing about the common frog in Ireland is, and throughout Europe, is it looks like a load of different types of frog because it has really variable colours.
Yeah.
So you can have one that's the same species, but one could be nearly jet black, and another one could be,
Blue.
well, let's say bright orange.
Yeah.
So, or a bluey green.
Yeah.
Kind of an emerald colour. So yeah, you get all these variation in colours. So yeah, so they're really, even though we only have the one species of frog, we have a lot of different colours of it. So it's wonderful.
Yeah. Where would you find toads?
So we have one toad, and it's the natterjack toad. It's a native species of toad. We actually have two toads in Ireland now, but our only native one is the natterjack, and that's down in Kerry in the Dingle Peninsula, a small spot in Kerry.
Yeah.
And they only live there because they really like the sand dunes, and that particular spot is really a nice area for them. They were trapped there in the Ice Age, and they've been there ever since. And
Yeah.
but they're lovely little creatures. We do have another toad, which was introduced, we think, from the UK or Europe,
Yeah.
and it lives up around these hills and in another couple of places in Donegal and in Cork, where people just brought it in. It's the common toad, and it seems to be doing very well in the country. So, you know, we'll probably have that toad around for a long time as well.
Yeah. Are frogs nocturnal, or do they sleep at night?
They are mainly nocturnal.
Nocturnal.
Yeah. So nocturnal, the only time you see a frog out during the day is at the side of a pond on a hot day,
Yeah.
because they have to get back to water so they don't dry out. Or you might see them if you're walking through long grass and you disturb them, and you'll see them hopping off.
Yeah.
But if you want to actually find them out and about and on the hunt, nighttime is the best. And a night like tonight will be absolutely perfect because it's really wet, but it's also quite warm out. So with that wet, warm kind of weather, they'll be out looking for all those slugs and worms and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll be trying to find their dinner.
Their dinner, yeah. Fast food, beetles.
Tell me about newts.
Tell me about newts. Okay, I love newts. Newts. We have one newt in Ireland, the smooth newt, and for half the year they'll live on land, and then for the other half the year they'll be in the ponds. And they go into the ponds to breed, to lay their spawn, and there's the males will grow this mad crest down their back, like a punk rocker. You know those kind of spikes, and they get all these spots. Yeah, exactly. And he will go out onto the floor of the pond, and he'll start to do a dance in front of a female. And he has a thing called pheromones that he waves at her, so it's like links. So he's kind of
Take my deodorant.
exactly. And he's trying to let her know that he's a healthy male. And then if she wanders off with him, then a few weeks later she'll be full of eggs. And then what she does, instead of laying spawn all over the place like frogs do, she wraps them up in individual leaves, like really carefully. So it's really cool to see them. And she'll lay about 200 eggs. They'll hatch out into tadpoles, and the tadpoles will eat tiny little water crustaceans and stuff like that. They're hunters. So, and then they'll eventually turn into adults and wander off into the land. But yeah, newts are fantastic creatures there. We've a load in my pond there. Look, there's a fly. We need a newt in here to eat that. But yeah, we've a load of newts in my pond. So yeah, I really like going out at night with the torch and seeing them. So again, best practice to catch amphibians, or to see amphibians, is to go out at night with a torch.
Would there be like any other animals that you'd find in your ponds?
Loads. Ponds are great for all sorts of animals. So you have dragonfly larvae, you have leeches, pond skaters, water boatmen.
What are those?
They're all, so water boatmen are like these little predatory insects that have oars, and they'll dive down and eat other insects.
Yeah.
Your pond skaters actually glide on the top of the water, and anything that falls in, like wasps or bees or flies or anything, they'll come over and they'll jab it and eat it. So yeah, ponds are like a war zone.
Yeah.
Everything's trying to kill each other, but it's it's really interesting to look at. It's amazing what shows up just out of the blue.
And also, the thing that kind of as well, a dragonfly and lava thing.
Oh yeah, the dragonfly larvae. Yeah, the dragonflies lay their eggs in there, and the dragonflies only live for a couple of months.
Yeah.
But their larvae, they live in there for like 4 years sometimes, and they get about that size, and they look like aliens, and they have a jaw that extends and grabs tadpoles and little fish. They're mad looking things. Check it out when you get home.
I feel bad for the
I
fish.
know, yeah. You would if you saw one of them getting
May you
eaten
rest in
by
peace.
Yeah. Lord have mercy on the sticklebacks, yeah.
Okay, that was fabulous, guys. But I have one question, if you don't mind, before we go. Collie, you mentioned an invasive species of frog. Toad, my apologies. The common toad.
Yeah.
Now, you have them around here and you have them in Donegal. Are they likely to become an accepted species in the country?
I would imagine we wouldn't have a choice eventually. They don't seem to be having too much of an impact, as opposed to a lot of other creatures that come in. So we're fortunate there, but it does require a little bit more research just to make sure that. But they don't seem to be, wherever we've come across them, we found plenty of newts and frogs. So that's good news, I suppose, you know. And you have to remember, a lot of our species that we accept as native in Ireland, like hedgehogs, rabbits, a lot of our deer species are all introduced.
A lot of our birds as well.
A lot of our birds as well. So like, it's looking good that the toads aren't having too much of an impact, and we have to be grateful for that.
Okay, I said only one question, but I actually have two.
Fire away.
If they were to stay for, say, 100 or 200 years, would they then be considered native, or how long would it take?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, what is the timescale for accepting something as a native species? Like the hedgehogs have been here since the Normans brought them over for food. So yeah, it's mad. Yeah, hedgehog pie. But if their range keeps expanding and they're here, you know, in my grandchildren's time, I'd say they'd be accepted as part of Irish flora and fauna, as they say. So
That's wonderful, guys. Well done. Now we're going to have to go somewhere else
Yeah.
and try
Just one
something
I
else.
think I'll stick to my apple pie.
yeah, instead of the hedgehog pie, that's a good one. That's
That
a better
would
one.
be sad.
I'm gonna
I have
leave.
some blackberries. We can pick them as well.
Now, folks, we've left Collie's front room and we're out here in the critter shed. And Collie is going to tell Kaelin about a few things that are here in the shed, but she particularly wants to know about spiders. She's not really crazy about spiders. So let's ask Collie, why are so many people scared of spiders?
First of all, how dare you insult the spiders?
I didn't insult them.
You did insult them. You have to be more open-minded about all the beautiful creatures. Look at these spiders here. Look at that. See that orange in there? That's a Mexican red knee. Now tell me that's not as pretty as any flower you've seen. It's gorgeous. So yeah. So why are people scared of spiders? Are you scared of spiders? Yeah.
Yeah, I can hold them, but not that big.
Not that big. Yeah. I'd say the reason why people are scared of them is
They're
because,
furry.
huh?
They're furry.
They're furry, yeah. So back in our ancestors' days, if a big furry creature ran at you, you were probably smart to run away from it. So it's kind of instinctive in a lot of people. And also, if you see your mum or dad when you're a little kid be really scared of spiders, I think you pick up on that too. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those two things kind of get people in that zone of arachnophobia.
Why should we not be afraid of spiders?
Because the vast majority of them aren't harmful. You have a look around there. Aren't harmful to people. They're incredibly successful predators of pests, what we consider pest species. Every species has its place, but you know what I mean. Species that will predate on our crops and spread diseases and stuff like that. So spiders eat all those guys, and they do it for free. You don't need chemicals. You don't need somebody calling out to your house. You have your little daddy long-necked spider in the corner who's munching away on your clothes moths and your flies and doing it all for free. So I think they're really misunderstood and very, very useful animals.
Collie, you have quite a few tarantulas in your collection.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're big spiders.
Yeah, very big. The salmon pink is the second biggest species of spider in the world, so that's about the size of my hand. So you can imagine, quite big.
That
yeah.
one freaked me out when I
Yeah,
walked in.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, they're very, very big. They are very ancient species of spiders. The tarantula as a whole group. The ones you see in your garden that make up the fancy orb webs are more highly evolved spiders. They've kind of gone further on their web building skills and such, whereas the tarantulas like to burrow and have very, very simple webs.
So, Collie,
Mm-hmm.
it's me again. I'm going to
Hello.
ask a really difficult question.
God.
One that Kaelin wouldn't have asked. I'm sure you wouldn't, chicken. How do we cure people of this fear of spiders?
I suppose education and outreach is key. That's the first thing. The more you know, the better about what's dangerous and what's not. And also learning about how useful they are and how important they are to our ecosystem does help. You'll never completely cure people of arachnophobia who have it ingrained in them, but you can certainly have them less fearful so that they won't jump down the stairs or out a window if they see a spider, and that's what we want. Yeah, we definitely don't want that, do we?
No.
No.
Me, 10 years tripping in a window, sees a spider.
Can I throw in one suggestion here at the end?
Yeah.
Even if you don't like spiders, try not to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
See if you can catch them and put them out in the back garden.
Yeah, that's it. They're just going about their day and occasionally bumping into us. They're not out to get us.
They're actually helpful to us, aren't they?
Very much so. Very much so.
Collie, it's been a pleasure being down here again. Thanks for everything.
No problem. Anytime. Well done. Great questions.
And what do you say to Collie?
Thank you for letting me see your frogs and your terrifyingly spiders and your gigantic snake.
Thank you very much.
Speaking of gigantic snake, I think maybe we'll finish with that, will we?
Yeah. That's Bertha.
Hi, Big Bertha.
Hello, Bertha. Big girl, isn't she?
Yeah.
Thanks for watching Wildlife Wednesday, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined. For now, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.